The exact number of guns in the United States are unknown. However, according to Pew Research, in June of 2013, there are between 270 and 310 million guns in the United States. In 2014, the U.S. Census Bureau estimated that there are 318.8 million people in the United States. What this means is, statistically, every man, woman, or child in the United States owns a gun. All right, that's skewed. We know that's not entirely correct. Some people own many guns, some people don't own any. That same Pew Research study in June of 2013 estimated that 37% of all American households owned a gun. That contrasts a Gallup poll in October of 2014, which estimated 42% of American households owned a gun. What all this means is simple. Regardless of which side of the political fence you stand on regarding gun control, there's a strong probability that at some point in your life you will come in contact with a firearm. When and if that happens, you have a responsibility to know how to safely handle that firearm. I've been a recreational shooter for the last 38 years, since I was 8 years old. For the last 5 years, I've shot competitively, with the last 6 months being the match director for a 2-gun match at my local range. For this talk, we're going to focus on a pistol. We're going to talk about the basic fundamentals on safety, why they're important. Primarily, you always assume a gun is loaded. You never touch a trigger till you're ready to shoot. You always keep the gun pointed in a safe direction, never pointed at anything you do not intend to shoot. After that, I'm going to show you how to unload a pistol. Then we're going to talk about how to safely hand a pistol to somebody else. So why is all this important? The Center for Disease Control, or the CDS, stated that in 2013 there were 33,636 deaths in the United States. When you remove homicides and suicides from that number, that leaves 1,253, or 3.7% of all firearm deaths were related to accidents. You always assume a gun is loaded. You never trust what anybody tells you until you can verify yourself that that gun is not loaded. You never touch a trigger. Always keep your finger out of the finger guard, away from the trigger, until which point in time you are ready to pull that trigger. Never ever point a gun at anything you do not intend to shoot. Doesn't matter if I'm picking the gun up from a table or I'm drawing a gun from a holster. I have a responsibility to ensure that the muzzle of that gun is always pointed in a safe direction. In North Carolina, if I was to accidentally point my gun at you, that is called intent with deadly force. I can go to jail for that. Always ensure a gun is pointed in a safe direction and not at anything you do not intend to shoot. All right, now that we've covered the basic fundamentals, let's talk about how to ensure a gun is unloaded. This particular gun is an VP9, pardon me. Its magazine inserts into the bottom of the grip. It has a mag release at the back of the trigger guard. If I depress that mag release, the mag falls out of the bottom of the gun. This particular gun is a Sig Sauer P938. Its mag release is this button right behind the trigger. If I depress that button, the mag falls out of the bottom of the gun. Once I've removed the mag, the next thing I want to do is lock the slide open. All pistols will have a slide lock. This slide lock is located right here. If I pull the slide back all the way, push up on the slide lock, that'll keep the slide in an open position. I know, doesn't matter where I'm standing, if I can see this gun, there's no question in my mind whether or not this gun is loaded. There's no magazine inserted in the gun, there's no round in the chamber. This gun is safe at this moment. All right, so now we know how to ensure a gun is unloaded. Let's talk about how to safely hand a gun to somebody else. The best way to hand a gun to somebody is either in a case or a pistol bag. Either one of these two ways is the safest way to hand a gun off. Let's assume that my case and my pistol bag are not available. My next option is to hand a gun, mag release, slide open. The person I'm handing this gun to knows instantly that this gun is not loaded, and they know that it's safe to touch. The last way would be to use what's called a chamber flag. This is a chamber flag right here, an example of a chamber flag. When inserted in a gun, it will look like this. The slide will be partially open. I will see the orange part of the flag coming out of the chamber. I know, again, doesn't matter where I'm at, if I can see a gun in this state, I know that that gun is safe at this point. All right, We've covered the basics of firearm safety. Let's recap what I've tried to demonstrate. You always assume a gun is loaded until you can verify otherwise. You never touch a trigger until you're ready to shoot. Never ever point a gun at anything you do not intend to shoot. I've shown you how to unload a gun, and I've also shown you how to hand a pistol off to somebody safely. As mentioned earlier, it does not matter which side of the political fence you stand on. There's a strong probability that sometime in your lifetime you will come in contact with a firearm. You need to know how to handle that firearm at that point in time. Firearms in the United States are not going away anytime soon, hopefully never. So with the knowledge I've tried to provide you, and with a little bit of common sense, you will be able to keep from becoming an unfortunate statistic.